It feels so good to be here right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes I feel like this is our getaway. Like whatever's happening out there,
Yeah.
this is just like a peace of mind.
We get to escape. Right?
Yeah.
We're going into the wormholes.
What are we escaping from?
Reality?
Yeah, there's no escaping that. Well, maybe, because everything is in your mind, right? Do you think that you have good mind control? Let's say something happens in your life where, like when life throws at you lemons, you know how they say you make lemonade?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that you're good at mind control and dealing with certain situations in your life that may pop up?
Honestly speaking, no. And I came to realize that. So the first time you acknowledge that you don't have any control over your mind, I think it changes you from there on forward. I realized it was like somebody sometimes throws a brick on the accelerator of the car and it just keeps going and you don't know how to stop it. I'll go through that with my mind at times. But I came to realize that it's just a storm. It'll pass. Just like I do in nature, like the clouds. They'll pass. They're not always going to be there. So you just sit there and watch the thoughts and say, wow, oof, it's going that bad today? Wow, we got a tornado coming.
Your analogies are priceless, bro. I love it.
Right. Now, I think that's where meditation starts to come into play. Everybody's got to have some control over their mind. Just to put it on pause. It's like a muscle. You got to practice it. Just to put it on pause for a little bit. I haven't tried meditation, though. I've heard that's what people do it for. Have you? Do you get that from praying?
Yeah, I do. It's a form of meditation. Absolutely. Because it's like you clock out. You're leaving the worldly events behind you, the worldly life. You leave it behind you for a minute and you focus in through prayer. And now you're communicating with this higher energy that I believe exists. Some people may not, right?
When you say communicate with this higher energy, can you get some feedback? Like, how would you explain that experience of that communication?
That's a good question. I would say that if you truly look at this world as a playground with many emotions involved, many spiritual things that are around you that you don't see, but you know it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest example to that is like the wind. You feel it. You know it's playing around you.
Mm.
But if you try to grab it, obviously nothing is there. It's wind, it's air. And it's the same thing with spirituality. The spiritual realm all around us. You know, life is majestic. Sometimes, like, if you're driving and you're about to switch a lane in your car, and that split second, something tells you to look over your shoulder.
Mm.
And then as soon as you do, you realize that there was a car in your blind spot. You're like, holy shoot. Ever happened to you?
Many times.
So that's it right there. That is life. Communicating with us creatures in so many ways. So I feel like prayer, obviously when you talk, you don't get a voice talking back. But what you do get is pieces to the puzzle. And these pieces can be human beings. So if I'm going through something and I'm asking the Creator for help, and depending on how sincere I am, and if this thing is good for me, then later down the line, I see the pieces to the puzzle being placed in the right places at the right time. That's my own experience. But it helps me cope. It helps me deal with anxiety. It helps me deal with depression. Even though depression, you just can't get away from fully, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. You can't get away from it fully because you know how they say germs are good for you?
Okay.
It helps build your immune system. Mm-hmm. So before like this whole pandemic and COVID, I used to always hear like doctors say, you know, try not to use antibacterial soap too much because you need those bacterias. Right?
Yeah.
And the same thing with depression. Don't try to clean it out all the way. Right? Don't try to get rid of it all the way. Because the reason why we have these, or we have this inner experience, depression, you can't really put a finger on it. What is it? I'm feeling this way. It happens to me. It comes. And when it hits me hard. I'm like, oh, there you are.
Maybe you're talking about sadness and not like clinical depression, right? Or are you talking about clinical depression? Do you have that?
Sadness is different than depression, right? Because sadness can be created by events. Mm-hmm. Something happens, it makes you sad. Depression comes at you and it can be from nowhere. You don't know why you're feeling this way. Everything is fine.
Everybody doesn't experience that, right? Because everyone is not clinically depressed.
I believe everybody is depressed somewhat. There has to be,
you know, they're sad. We get ups and downs on how you feel. But clinically depressed is a different thing. Maybe it's just the chemicals within your brain that aren't aligned correctly, so you can't produce serotonin even when something good happens, or dopamine when you get like a nice meal, or you have a good workout, or you have good sleep. You know, those people they just don't know. They're not producing it. So that I wouldn't compare to sadness.
So what would you say like the correct definition for depression? How would you define someone who is clinically depressed? Is it that exactly?
Yeah, those things I just said.
Like the serotonin in your brain.
Yeah, the chemicals aren't really firing correctly. So you could have a child and you're not happy now. You know, you have a good night's sleep, or you have an achievement of something and you're still not happy.
Yeah, that's the same thing that I'm talking about.
So you experience that?
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm saying
everything is perfectly fine.
Everyone doesn't experience that.
You're saying
that's but the minority.
Oh no,
you're saying every single human being is depressed on this earth?
Has causes of depression, cases of depression.
You mean times of depression within their life?
Yes. No matter what the situation may be. I'm speaking on personal.
Personal, yeah. So you felt this. You're battling with this.
No, but not only that. I mean, what do celebrities have? Everything that people wish for.
Yeah, but we're not all celebrities.
I understand. But let's say everything that celebrities have is what the average person wishes for, which is fame, stature, money, houses, cars. If it's a male, women. If it's a female, a good-looking man. But why are majority of celebrities depressed? Why are majority of celebrities commit suicide, for example, or become drug addicts?
Well, celebrities, I think in order for you to even be a celebrity, you're not normal as a human being. To have or want that much fame and attention, it's not normal. It's not going to keep you as a sane human being. The kind of things that happen to you on a day-to-day basis as Kanye West, as compared to what things that happen to you as Muad, it's not the same thing. You know, maybe at that level, yeah, that kind of occupation, you will become depressed. Constantly watching your move, what you're supposed to do. But anyways, let's come back to why we started talking about this is prayer, which is you get moments of communication with the divine power, and the communication is the signs are there for you. You just have to pay attention to them. You have to quiet and still yourself and the storms that are happening within your brain enough to see the harmony of your life and how things are getting to play out. Now, you do this 5 times a day at the given time. And every single time you recite an ancient scripture that you understand what it is that you're saying. Now, while you're iterating these scriptures, do you think accordingly to what you're saying?
Not all the time.
Not all the time.
Yeah. Because this is something that is achieved with practice.
What I'm trying to understand is that, can you get that feeling that you get from prayer just through meditation without revising the ancient scriptures?
Absolutely.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Have you done that? Have you ever meditated like that?
When I was a lot younger, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I heard about it.
You tried it?
Yeah, I tried
So you
it.
sat there and you tried to just, what'd you do? Quiet your mind?
Actually, you know who would do it is me and Anas and Ahmed. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we would put on, go to YouTube, put special tranquility music on for meditation, and we would turn the lights down and we would try to meditate.
For how long?
Not long. Maybe about 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
25 minutes tops, because it takes a lot to focus in, and they teach you how to breathe. You have to know, you have to be in touch and aware of your breathing. Breathing is a big part of it. But it helps.
So that helped you gain control over your mind in the situations where something was to happen and you can't, say you become overwhelmed. Now you know how to control your mind accordingly.
I wouldn't say control, but
What would you say?
I would say it helps with anxiety. There was a study that was done, plenty of studies, right, about meditation. And what they came to find out is that certain parts of the cells in the brain actually got bigger
While practicing meditation.
while practicing meditation. Yeah. Anxiety decreased, right? Depression decreased.
Wow.
Why do you think that is, though? Why do you think that is? What is it about meditation, and what is meditation, really?
So your mind is constantly working. And the idea is that you need to take a break from time to time. You can't just be on override all the time. I'm sure it creates some toxicity. Just like how when you drink coffee, I believe there's something called adenosine or adenosine that is a molecule that goes and sits right in the part where your brain creates waste from just a day-to-day, from your day work, right, of thinking. And adenosine goes in there and sits in that pathway, so almost to numb yourself from realizing that you're actually tired. So when you get that waste buildup, your brain realizes that it's tired. Natural process, right? Coffee, when you drink it, goes in there and hijacks that pathway, sits in there, and now you no longer realize that you're tired. And you get that caffeine rush too. So I think when that happens, say on a day-to-day basis, you think a lot, you're producing a lot of waste. It's going to be harmful for you. And if you keep on thinking in overdrive, let's take somebody, for instance, who has like anorexia. They're constantly thinking about this one thing compulsively, obsessively, about how fat they are. But look how it ruins their life. Their day-to-day basis. They can't eat right. They can't go to work. They can't sleep because of it.
They feel a certain way.
Oh, they feel very insecure.
Right.
I'm sure their relationships deteriorate. If they could just have not that body image or that control over the thoughts of their body image, maybe they wouldn't have to suffer from anorexia as they do. So many other things can be controlled if you can control your thought process just when it's going on overdrive. I think I've gotten a panic attack from overthinking before. It almost feels like a heart attack. And I couldn't recognize it at first. But then I realized what it was. I should probably learning how to meditate because of the fact that I'll get anxiety from overthinking. You know, overthinking, I think, can manifest into different ways in different people. Depression, like you said, in some. Anxiety in some.
Paranoia,
that's a bad one in some. So through prayer, you think, and that meditation,
right,
you can help your depression. Right?
Absolutely.
You said it doesn't quite go away for you fully.
No.
And you don't want it to, because you were saying that it's good for you?
It's very healthy for you. You know how they say too much medicine becomes poison,
mm-hmm.
and too little medicine, too less medicine becomes...
I think what you're trying
What am I trying to say here?
I know that one. I think it is poison in moderation becomes medicine, and medicine out of moderation becomes poison.
Right.
So
that's exactly it.
Right.
So you need somewhat of a dose
of this poison.
Of this, let's call it, right, because it's not a, supposedly it's looked down upon.
It's not
right?
nutritious for you.
I believe it is,
but because later on, from the stress that you have,
right,
from the sadness of the depression, later on, the regular things that might happen would make you appreciate it more.
Right. So I think that this feeling that we get, right, and we label it with a name, because this is all we human beings do. We try to figure out what it is that we're going through or what we're feeling, and we give this feeling a name. Now, does it really mean depression? Depression, when you look it up, what's the definition of depression? Does it really mean that? This is what our assumption of it is. Because don't forget, depression is a feeling. In the same case is like love. Can we really define love? No, we can't, but it's a feeling that we get. So we label it. Can we really take the word depression, crumble it up, and say, toss it out? We don't really need this feeling. No, because the reason why you get these feelings is because they're inherent in you.
Why don't you want to just say sadness?
I don't want to say sadness.
Why not? You just want to express the extreme version of sadness to call it depression?
Yeah, because
depression is like a mental disorder, though.
This is what they say
you don't
that it
believe
is. I don't believe that depression is a mental disorder.
sure they have like MRI scans showing like, you know, if certain parts of your brain light up or not as a normal human being.
I mean, this is all speculation, right? Or what do they call that? Probability, right? They don't really have that. For example, right? I'll give you an example.
There's people.
No, I'm
I've seen
saying
you
that
happy many times.
these things, these scientific theories, always change. These are feelings that human beings don't understand, and they give them titles. Okay, in the 1950s, being gay was considered a mental illness.
Okay.
Okay, so if you came out and said, "I'm having these thoughts," you know, I'm going through, you know, I'm picturing these things, and I'm getting aroused by certain ideas and things like that, they would send you to
An asylum or maybe some therapy.
no therapy
Right.
or a psychiatrist.
Maybe not an asylum.
Yeah, I mean, come on, you took it. So now,
Therapy. You'll talk to somebody and they'll say like these thoughts are not good and stuff and so on and so forth.
right? So
But now you're saying it's accepted in society because scientists have realized that maybe it's not abnormal and it's not like just like how transgenderism is coming out. It's just no longer gender dysmorphia.
yes,
So now they're saying that, you know, it's
that's
so,
just an example.
so you're saying you're comparing that to like depression and saying later on people are going to come out and say like, oh, well, this is just normal to have.
I'm not saying that.
What are you saying?
What I'm saying is, hear me out now.
Yeah, where are you going?
Okay, this is going to be a little long-winded
All right,
rant.
Let me pucker up.
This feeling that you get when you don't feel happy, and there is absolutely no reason or no problem in your life, but everything is going fine.
You're achieving
But you're
your
just you're achieving your goals. You have money in the bank. You whatever the
Successful
case is
relationships.
successful in relationships, whatever you may think, right? But it doesn't mean that you don't have any problems.
What's your problems?
The problem is within here. Now, here's what I'm trying to say. That the reason why we even get these feelings is because inherently they're within us. This is basically our human programming. Our human programming is to feel love and feel loved. Our human programming is to feel sorrow and sadness.
Yeah, I agree with you on all those things.
And also to feel that emptiness within inside in order for you to reach out.
Okay, maybe that's a different feeling.
Exactly. So I think that the reason why we get these feelings of sadness, I'm going to say sadness, right? Jeez, bro.
I thought you were going to try to explain depression.
This is depression, right? Sadness, depression is when there's something
Have a mental
inherent,
disorder. When you have a mental disorder.
intuitively, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what's happening within here or here, but you feel down. You feel
I think I know where you're trying to go with this. You're trying to say that you could have everything we're having with you, and if you don't have God and your spiritual connection, then you're depressed, and you can't tell why. That's what you're trying to get at, right?
100%. Yeah.
So you're saying those people that are all depressed, they should pray?
I'm not saying that everybody. I'm not gonna paint every.
But the majority of people, it could help.
Exactly.
Okay.
Majority of people, because honest to God, we cannot say that nobody is mentally ill. Right? There are some people who are going through severe mental illness that they need help. Right?
Yeah.
People need help with.
Yeah, no, religion has definitely helped a lot of people with answering that one gnawing question of our existential reality, which is, why are we here? And that kind of answers that question for them, and that helps them move on. Satiates, and it gives them purpose. Not everybody, but a lot of people. I forget who it was, but it was a famous writer that says religion is opium for the masses. Sedates you. Comfort. Right? Were you always religious growing up?
I always had belief in God, but not always religious. So I always had faith.
Mm-hmm.
Faith and religion, right?
Religion or in God?
I always had faith in God, and then later on in life I became religious. But I wasn't always religious, no. So,
would you say as you became more religious, it satiated your question, answered it for you, why you're here, what you're supposed to do, and from there on forward you felt a sense of peace?
I submitted my will to the Creator. Fully. So no matter what happens to me today or tomorrow, I know that this is because either I am being tested in life or it's a trial.
You don't think we're all submitted to the will of God, whether we like it or not, whether we agree with it or not, whether we acknowledge it or not?
Absolutely. Sleep. They call it the small tyrant. Try not to sleep for 3 days. What would happen to you? Everybody is submissive. You are submissive in so many ways.
Right.
That you have no power over.
No control. So whether you know it or not, you're submitted to the will of God. But you said you submitted to the will of God after you became religious? What does that mean? Like now you're okay with it.
I'm okay with
before you weren't?
Yeah, well, listen, there are some people who lose the closest loved ones to them. So there are some people who lose a loved one. And because of that death, they become depressed. Not saddened, but depressed.
Like they can't pick themselves up anymore. That's it.
They can't move on with life.
Yeah.
They're always questioning why.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that thought, going back to the mental state of thinking, constantly thinking, it leads you to a place where we want to call depression. Now, if you bring somebody who had submitted his will to the system, to the world, to the creation, to the Creator, he leaves it all in the hands of this orderly body that we are in. And the closest person to him dies, the most beloved. You have to say, and you would have to accept, this is the will. This is what was destined to happen. Of course, you're going to feel sorrow. But once you accept and submit to know the things that are going to test you in life, you'll feel a lot better on the inside, that everything is temporary in this world. Everything is temporary, even your sadness. Nothing lasts. You and I are not going to last. So why hold on to these dark feelings? You know? How many people do you know or we heard that they lost their career? They've been in this career for 25 years. And then once something happens or this person is tested with that situation and he gets fired, they go and kill themselves. Because I believe they didn't submit to the will of the universe, of the creator, of this system, once you find that spiritual thing in you to say nothing lasts forever, wouldn't you say so?
If you just understand that concept, maybe you're just okay with life, and the goods and the bads, you accept them as the best version. Can you get that without religion though? Like if you, like for instance, Buddhists call themselves not really a religion, they say it's like a philosophy. So if you understand that, as they do, is that everything is impermanent, you'd be okay with a lot of stuff that's negative.
Absolutely. It's not like if you're not religious, you lose morals and ethics.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people who don't believe in God, but have, I think, more morals and ethics than some religious people.
Yeah.
I don't think that it hurts you in any way.
Yeah. But that's just what's helped you.
That exactly. Personal
That's
situation,
personal
right.
situation. That's what's helped you. That's great. That's great, man.
What do you think that happens? I'm sorry to ask you this question because I am interested. Like, what happens and what do you think? Not talking like a, Mr. Science Man. What do you think happens within the human brain to cause this feeling
of depression?
Yeah. What do you think it is?
No, I really thought it was just exactly what science says.
Which is?
Just the chemicals.
Chemical imbalance?
Yeah, in a certain person. Because, like, I don't think it's because they can't answer their purpose. Many people who are depressed, and when they do find their purpose through devoting themselves to God and religion and life, they find their salvation. But I really thought depression was just simply that.
It's just chemical imbalances?
Yeah.
We all have chemical imbalances.
Yeah, that manifests in different ways.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have certain situations that I might be going through, that I'm trying to still figure out and how to defeat these demons, we call them, right? Mm-hmm. You can call it chemical imbalance, demons, there's many labeling.
Yeah.
But what is it really? We don't know, right? It's speculation at this point, no?
I see what you're saying, yeah. I definitely think that too, at times. I'll go into that thought process where I want to question it all.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know, I've never really thought that much about depression, really. I don't think I'm affected to it, I get happy, I get sad, I get angry, I get a lot of things. I'm not just consistently sad. Do I have any interactions with many people that are? No, not necessarily, but I'm sensitive to those that are.
Yeah.
Battling with this kind of hardships on a day-to-day basis. It's not easy. I didn't know you were clinically depressed.
No, not clinically depressed.
Oh, you didn't have a psychiatrist?
No.
You're labeling yourself depressed.
No, I'm
self-proclaimed depressed.
At a certain point, right? Everything is going good in your life.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, this feeling overcomes you, and you're wondering why. Sometimes you just want to be alone. You're trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe. And when it does come, it's like an old friend visiting. Like, oh, okay, I know. What? The feeling that you get.
Which feeling?
Of depression.
Okay. It's like a familiar friend for you?
Yeah. It's like they came back to visit and say hello. Because they're only going to stick around for a little bit. And then they're going to just be like, all right, I'll see you until next time. And I embrace that feeling when it does come. I don't.
How long does it last for you? How long is this friend coming along for?
Yeah, about
paying rent.
Sometimes a day and a half.
Okay.
That's
a good friend.
2 days, right? Come nice, leave nice.
Come nicely.
So when that happens,
I don't think you could call that depression, brother.
I'm
It's just a day.
a day and 2 days, yeah.
It comes how often?
I would say maybe once every 3 months.
Once every 3 months for a day. You're sad.
A day or two. Not sad.
It's normal, bro.
It's not sad. I can be sad right now and no one would know.
Okay.
I could be going through a situation that I've just dealt with and I have to put on this mask in order for me to complete my day with a friend or whatever. Would you know anything about it? No. But depression is different, right? Depression is that, I believe, that feeling that you get, you can't explain it, but you feel a certain way. It's like something is calling you to sit with yourself. Maybe you need a moment. Maybe you need a drive. Some people I know tell me, so when I feel this way, I just get up and go for a drive. I go for an hour drive. I go for a long drive. I just need to clear my head. I don't know why I'm feeling this way. And that drive helps them. Some people. And if you realize...
Because they were just sad for a little bit, man. It's not depression.
Okay. I mean, we can agree to disagree, right? I disagree. I think that
Okay.
yeah.
I want to go back at it and try to explain to you how that's not depression.
I mean,
like that.
When you hear somebody or you want to talk to a friend, or especially, I would say females, they like to say, they call their best friend, like, what's wrong? I don't know, I'm so depressed.
It's a hyperbolic way of speaking.
It's the truth.
Exaggerating. No, it's not the truth. It's exaggeration.
So you're saying that depression is like cancer?
Where'd you get that from?
Is that what you're? I mean, is that you're making it seem like it's this thing that you have to be diagnosed with depression?
No. I'm not saying that either.
Okay.
I'm not saying you need a professional person. Like maybe you didn't go to the doctor and you have depression, and you just never realized it your whole life.
There you go.
But I'm saying what depression is, though, is most likely that there is a chemical imbalance within your brain. That's it.
But we are all
Chemically imbalanced?
absolutely. Who the hell is perfect? Who the hell is skipping to the freaking boobop? Every minute of their life. It's impossible.
So the chemically imbalances that we do have are all different, so they manifest differently.
Exactly.
So someone can have low testosterone, for instance. They're chemically imbalanced with that hormone. That will show differently than depression would.
So there's different types of plants in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you see like a cactus, in order for a cactus to grow,
Okay.
it's different than if you would want
A banana tree.
right. It needs a specific amount of sun, with a specific amount of water.
Okay, so
we're all just like these plants.
okay.
Everybody needs a specific way in order to successfully what's the word I'm looking for? Heal themselves.
Mm-hmm.
All right. For me, it may be prayer, reaching out to the Creator. For someone else, a lot of people say exercise helps.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Stress reliever.
Oh,
right?
that's great.
Some people drugs. That's their way out.
Yeah. So that's a good thing that you just said that. Because I think there's many pathways to salvation. All of those. Exercise, good nutrition, good sleep, good drugs. No, but hey, look, like coffee, for instance, that's a drug.
Absolutely.
Right? Good coffee.
Yeah.
Good coffee and good friends, that's a good drug right there.
Oh man, that's the best drug. That's the best drug.
Definitely. So there's many other meditation. prayer. So there's many other pathways to have mental peace and clarity.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't think I've really experienced myself too much with prayer that I felt. Maybe once or twice in my life, I did feel that while fasting in Ramadan and then praying afterwards. I think I was cleansed to a point that I could feel what other people are talking about. It's like a sense of happiness that I used to get back when I was a teenager, right in the times of, like, say, puberty and just after. That sort of happiness I felt when I prayed Maghrib, the evening prayer. And I think it was like the 15th day of Ramadan. When you're not eating, your body has more clarity. You're more susceptible to the things around you. You're more aware of energies around you. You're more aware of your own self. So you become like a higher, I think you tap into like a higher cognition. And at that time, that's when I truly felt that mental clarity and that sense of peace that I think everyone's talking about. And that's what brings them to religion. That's what brings them closer to prayer. That's what brings them closer to God. I didn't always get that, though, or maybe I'm chasing that first high. It's kind of like that first high. I get it a lot through exercise. Definitely. That really helps. Or good sleep, good food, good nutrition. That's a big one for me.
Mind, body, and soul.
Yeah. Soul, that's the thing. So for soul, I think for me, in terms of way of expression, conversations, right? That's a big one for me. Singing. A way to express myself that goes without words.
I think the soul has a lot to do with why we may feel depressed, or why some people may be going through this depression. I don't think it's just so much of the mental aspect, right? These scientists want to hook up something to my brain and see what type of imbalances that I have, and then they want to prescribe me with antidepressants. And a lot of the times we understand that these antidepressants make you even more depressed than what you started off with. And that's just basically like hearing a loud noise coming from your engine, and you want to fix this problem by turning up the radio as loud as you can. You no longer hear that noise, but is the problem still there? Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just a Band-Aid.
It's not helping you. What it will help you is spiritual exercise. This is what you need. We want to think about physical. We're forgetting about this spirit that lives within us that is craving for something. What is it asking you for? It's not just so much focusing on the mental aspect. Because maybe something that we don't know is maybe this spiritual is the driver of our mental.
I see what you're saying. Now, that's one thing that our society doesn't necessarily focus on, right? The spiritual realm that resides within us. We're always looking at the body, the physical realm, and try to tinker with that according to how we feel. And that's not... The spiritual realm can also affect us. Not also, but if anything, that's the main thing that does affect us fully in our mood and everything from there on forward. So if we focus on that as a society, you're saying, like, instead of going to these professionals to see if I have a chemical imbalance, maybe you need to come to realize that you have a spiritual imbalance. Right? And who's going to do that? Maybe a religious leader of some sort, maybe like a priest. Many people get found through that, right? A sheikh, maybe if you talk to an imam, you'll get that too. Yeah, everyone's different. But as a society, if you had necessarily all or had a spiritual healing, you're saying a lot of depression would be eliminated. But in our society where depression is thriving, as of right now, maybe it's because it's a godless society now. Right? Like, especially in like academia, I think now if it's almost laughed upon if you believe in God. Like they look at you like you're not intelligent enough to understand how, everything is happening. So you just fill in the blank by saying it's God. It's like, well, you think you know everything? That's even funnier. We probably just accumulated all this information from these institutions maybe 1,000 years ago. Let's say 2,000. Hell, let's say 10,000. Just go on a limb here. Say people have gathered that much information that we still have today that you're learning through institutions, passed on. Many civilizations, all the information of the knowledge that they gathered has been just wiped away. We don't even know. We have no evidence of it. Who's to say that they gathered more than ours? But let's just say 10,000 years, you have it all. What's 10,000 years to, 14 billion years of this universe? Of the things that are going on, and that's just within one Earth that you think you know what's going on? From that, you think you understand the whole universe? That's just laughable. So something is definitely orchestrating it all, though. What is it? I don't think any scientist can answer that without saying we just have to leave it to the unknown.
When you say scientist,
by the way, many scientists are very religious. Yeah,
because one scientist said it the best. He said, knowledge of science makes you a scientist. An in-depth knowledge of science makes you a believer of God.
Wow, who said this, man? I really want to know.
I'll find out for you.
That's a good one, though.
So about this scientist, right? When you say scientist or science, so I'll tell you a story. During the ancient times, I always like to bring it back to the ancient times because I believe they had an inherent wisdom that we lost, and it's called spiritual knowledge. They had this spiritual knowledge that today we don't carry that spiritual knowledge. Some do, not many. So he went and entered into the palace to address the king of that town or era. And at first, when he began to speak in front of the king about the situation that was happening in the community, he said, I started talking peacefully, like the way you and I are talking. Then all of a sudden his voice became louder, and then louder as he was speaking to the king, until it reached to the point where he was screaming at the king. And his friend was like, you were going to get us killed. What was going on in your mind? What made you, like, when you first started speaking, you were fine. Everything was okay. And then at the end of your rant, you were screaming. You would have got us killed. He said, because as I was talking, I started to see the king for what he really was, which was this limited man just like me. And the more I thought about it, the less he became in my eyes. So my voice started reaching at a high level, because at the end of my rant, he was insignificant. With or without that crown. And then the same thing with the scientist. Like, yeah, the scientist says, well, the scientist was, before he was a scientist, he was once a baby. Like, what's his name? That famous reggae.
Reggae or reggae?
Reggae, whatever, reggae.
What about it? Bob Marley?
Bob Marley, what did he say? He
What
said,
did he?
I fear no man, because every man was once a baby.
Oh man, you got to say it in his accent. I fear no man.
Me not care anywhere where you come from. So the same thing, this scientist was a baby, right? And before he was a baby, he was a sperm. He was a piece of sperm, like insignificant. So now all of a sudden I'm going to throw all my eggs into that the basket of science. Now, there has to be more than just that.
Yeah. And many scientists realize that.
Absolutely.
The ones that become more learned, you're saying. Yeah. I agree. They come to realize that, we don't have the answers to it all. So something is definitely orchestrating this harmony. It has to be a higher divine power. The theory of gaps of the knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
so stay sane out there. I mean, what are we gonna say? I mean, we all know what's going on.
If you're depressed, go pray.
Or, try to become more spiritual within yourself.
Yeah.
Because the answers are not around you. They're within.